Hello and welcome to the show. Listen, thanks so much for joining the show today. You know, it's all about Women's History Month. And right here on the Tammy Show, we are celebrating Women's History Month with some powerful, powerful women. And I call this series The Power of the Woman. We'll be right back.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
What's on my mind? Well, listen, thank you again for joining the show. You know, you've been so consistent, and I am so grateful. Remember, we're on YouTube, and please hit that subscribe button. So listen, as I told you, this is about the power of the woman, and you're going to meet some powerful women. And the first woman I want to introduce you to is I want to talk about her like this. She was the first woman head of the Federal Communications Commission in May of 2013 when she was named the acting chair by President Barack Obama following her second appointment to the Federal Commission. She served 11 years as a member of the Public Service Commission of South Carolina, representing the state's 6th congressional district. She served as chair for 2 of those years, July of 2002 to June of 2004. And then, guess what? She became a publisher and a general manager of the Coastal Times, which was in Charleston, South Carolina. And that was a family-founded newspaper for 14 years. Now I'm going to tell you, this powerful woman is a strong advocate for enhanced accessibility in communications for disabled citizens, and she worked closely with representative groups for the deaf and the hard of hearing. She has pushed for affordable universal telephone and high-speed internet access, greater broadband deployment, adoption throughout the nation. When I tell you a powerful woman, listen, she has also been a member of the Federal State Joint Board on the Universal Service, a Federal State Joint Board on Separations, the Joint Conference on Advanced Services. She was a recipient of the Hall of Fame Award for the Competitive Carriers Association, the Diversity Advocate Award from the Walter Cultz Foundation. All right. And the National Telehealth Champion Award for South Carolina. She is also the daughter of the late Emily and the Honorable Majority Whip Congressman James Clyburn. She is the principal of MLC Strategies, LLC. Now, I forgot to say she was also the first African-American woman to be named the chair for the Federal Communications Commission. I want to say, but you know, I'm used to saying FCC. But listen, I can say so much more about her. That's just a little tidbit about who this powerful woman is. And I am so honored that she was able to join us tonight. So come on out, Miss Mignon Clyburn.
Hello, Tammy. How are you?
Fine. Wow, you look fabulous.
Thank you. Only for you.
Oh, listen, I sure thank you so much. I am so honored that you would join me. Yeah, when I say the power of the woman, you exemplify everything about that. That's powerful. Being a woman who has done so much and who's contributed so much to our country, our state, and our world. And so, again, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. But I have to say this, Tammy, if it weren't for women like my mother and your mother who helped keep us healthy and strong, none of these things that you mentioned would be possible.
You know what? You are so right. And today we want to honor them and their memory, because without them, as you said, it wouldn't have been us. We wouldn't even been here.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. So let's talk about this journey, because Mignon, as I talked about you, talking about you being the first woman and the first African American woman chair for the FCC. Let's talk about how did you get there? Start that journey for us.
Well, it started with mentors, mentors like Charleston, you know, all of these people that we talk, Marjorie, she really helped me. Marjorie Amos Frazier, she nurtured me. She let me into her home when nobody else would. She let me drink sweet tea. She encouraged me to be the best that I could be. And she told me something that no one else did, that I could be a commissioner. She was the first African American on the Public Service Commission of South Carolina. And when we saw an opening, she said that I could. So women like that really helped to nurture me, and said they told me that I could do it when I even doubted myself. So it is on those shoulders that I stand. And then the rest is history. I got noticed at the Public Service Commission. I got considered twice, by the way, for the FCC, and the rest is history. So I will say that all of that is a part of a building block. We can sit here and try to take credit, but the credit all goes to those women who came before us. Even if they didn't have the same title, they had the same aspirations. They wanted us to do more than they did. And they kept building and pushing and hugging and supporting. On those days when I didn't think it was possible, they said that I could. And even when I fell short, they said, try again. So these are the types of, it happened with a lot of inspiration, a lot of support, a lot of blessings. Some people call it luck, but it's straight blessings.
As you're talking about it, I'm excited because a woman like you being in those positions that you had, and that you still continue to do, that journey, you have to keep yourself motivated. And one of the things that you talked about is how to make a way when people are in the way. I want you to kind of talk about that, Mignon.
Well, a lot of these jobs, unfortunately, even in 2021, we are the only ones in the room. And not only are we the only ones in the room, they are not accustomed to us. So we get treated differently. We get exposed to less information. We don't get the invitations others do. So what you have to do is work around that. What we have to do is to push through that. We have to read more. We have to read broadly. And we have to be more prepared than our counterparts, because we rarely get the inside information. We are rarely on the, get the invitation that would help us on the inside track. So we have to make it up with our intelligence and with our research, because it's not going to be handed to us too many times. We have to earn it.
One of the things that as I'm sitting here talking about it, you have to keep yourself motivated. As women, we have to be motivated. How do you do that? What keeps you motivated?
It depends on the day of the week. Sometimes it's some people call it stubbornness, but sometimes it's just that tenacity. I will not accept failure. Other times it's that faith that I know that if I stick with it, the chances are great that I will achieve it, but I know if I quit, it will not get done. So for many of us, what keeps us moving is we want things better for those who come after us, just like our mothers did and our grandmothers did. We want to plant seeds for others so that we're not unicorns. People talk about being a unicorn, and that sounds cute. And sometimes, you get put on this shelf. But many of us don't want to stay on the shelf. We want to be able to nurture and to grow and to show that this was not an accident. This didn't just happen. It wasn't arbitrary. We are here because we earned it. We deserved it. It was our turn way back when. It should have never not been our turn. And so, for us, it is really about ensuring that we hold up that mantle. We grabbed that baton, and it is our responsibility to pass it on to someone else. And if we quit, that baton gets dropped. And so quitting is not an option.
Right. You are the honorable Mignon Clyburn. And so when I think about that, Mignon, I think about some of the challenges that you probably had to face. And one of those challenges, and we're going to get to that, was reinventing yourself. But the first challenge that I want you to kind of talk about is when you were in these positions, you were the first woman, the first African American. What were some of those challenges that you had to deal with?
That people had low to no expectations. They were not familiar with me. I had even one person, it got whispered back to me, they didn't know how to talk to me. Now, they had no problem speaking with anybody else, but they didn't know how to approach me to speak with me. I had another to say, we didn't know what kind of commissioner you would be, because they made an assumption that I would not excel. And it didn't matter what degree I had. It didn't matter what my references said. It did not matter how I did on the test. Because in South Carolina, you take a test. No matter how well you did, there is a narrative that too many people subscribe to that make assumptions about people that look like you and me. So the challenge for all of us is to not accept that narrative, and to continue to break those ceilings, those glass ceilings, to continue, to push, to make sure that you, again, write your own script. Do not follow someone else's, especially those who do not necessarily have your best interests at heart, who have made assumptions about you that are not accurate because they don't know, they're not familiar, and they have inherited, with all due respect, a very bad narrative about women of color. So it's up to us to keep pushing, to keep striving, and to keep proving, not just to them, but more so to ourselves, what we can do, what our capacity is. And we've got to, just keep moving. And most of the time when I get up in the morning, especially when I have something challenging to do, is to prove them wrong. I want to prove you wrong, because you were wrong from the start. But part of my joy is proving you wrong every single day.
Wow, you know what? I don't know how I would do how anybody did in that boardroom with you. I know, I can tell. I mean, but I know you. We've known each other for years and years and years, and you are just you have this way of being able to get people to buy into the vision. And you have done that so well, especially, and I want to show the photo when you were on Joy Reid, and you were talking to Joy. And I know this is about when you were talking about broadband, about internet, and the strategies of getting free and open internet. I mean, for you to be that type of woman, to do that, I mean, that's tremendous. And to be on Joy Reid, we know, girl, that's it. That's it.
Well, it was exciting. I can't pretend that it wasn't. I can't pretend that I, wasn't a bit nervous. But we were speaking about an issue and about a time that we worked very hard during the Obama administration to try to level the playing field when it comes to what we call advanced communication services or broadband, or making sure you have the tools you need, especially now. And when we had that fight, and when they overturned what we did, when they got rid of net neutrality, it was consequential for so many reasons. Because if we had those protections in place, if we said broadband is a necessity and not just a luxury, we would not be where we are when it comes to millions of children. Over almost 20 million children at the beginning of this pandemic did not have a broadband in their home so they could do their homework. Millions of seniors did not have the tools they needed for telemedicine. So these types of things, these policies are important. And now in the raging pandemic, people are finally waking up. But we were saying this for years. And the powers that be not only did not listen, but they reversed a lot of the protections. And that's why I was on that show saying how wrong-headed that was and forecasting what the consequences could be. No one wanted to listen. But now you notice a lot of people very quiet because unfortunately, this pandemic just exposed all of those frailties And this is why it's important for us to not only weigh in, but to vote, because too many of us stayed home 4+ years ago, and that caused a wholesale shift in terms of priorities. So when they say elections have consequences, that is absolutely true. And we are where we are in terms of the recovery because we did not stay the course when we were talking about narrowing divides.
That's right. And you know what? I remember that meeting, and I don't ever think you knew this because I brought up that information because at the time, I was living in a rural area, and you were the commissioner, and there were some folks from another network, and I kind of got in trouble because I opened it up and I asked you and I asked them, what were they going to do? And just like you said, they had a blind eye and they said, oh, well, she shouldn't have been talking about that. But look at us now.
And
So,
we didn't want to be proven right. We did not want to be proven right. The thing, what is important with policy and with our everyday lives is we need to be ready. We need to put decisions that we make, the policies that we put in place. We're not doing this for a sunny day. We need to be prepared for those days when it rains. And so when things go wrong, we want to be able to recover quickly to be able to react. We can't make decisions based on when everything is lovely. That is not what, government is a backstop. The government is there to be there when the market fails. And we as individuals and policy makers, we need to, be ready for the not so sunny days. And, my goodness, unfortunately, this pandemic showed just how much we were not ready.
That's right. Mignon, I want to thank you for really talking about that and being transparent about your feelings and really what you were trying to do and how people kind of tried to block you, get in the way. But of course, we know you Emily's daughter. You Miss Emily's daughter, you're going to come on out. And of course, the Honorable Jim Clyburn's daughter as well. So let's talk about this because as you shifted from being the commissioner, you had to really reinvent yourself. Yes. And that's what I want to talk about, MLC strategies.
Well, I went from being a commissioner for a total of almost 19 years, 11 years at the state level and a little over 8 at the federal level, to jumping without a parachute to be an entrepreneur. Now, many people would not do that. A lot of my friends went to law firms. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm blessed to say I had offers, but I took 2 steps. I first took on a fellowship because, one of my issues was inmate calling, the rates, the just unreasonable rates, the almost criminal rates, those who are incarcerated and their families paid to keep in touch. I did a fellowship for about 6 months trying to bring attention to that because no one cared about those 2.2 million children who have at least one parent incarcerated, who they can't afford to speak to their parent, and they're growing up in isolation, or that grandmother who's trying to keep in touch with that grandson who's incarcerated and not being able to afford her medicines, but she's got to speak. She wants to keep his spirits high. Her motherly compassion has not gone away because he has. And so these are the types of issues that I started out. And then I took another leap. And I decided to start this business, to be a consultant, to be an advisor, to go it on my own. I said no to quite a few jobs, and the money really wasn't bad. The money was really pretty good, and they could not believe that I turned it down. But I had faith in myself, and I wanted to give myself a chance. So I said, I'll give it 1 year and see how it works. We're into year 2.5. And I just want to say that sometimes when you take that leap of faith, when you embrace and incorporate those things that and if you apply them to yourself and how you can be a beacon of hope and aspiration, that help to others, then I decided to go it on my own. I have not regretted one day. I have been at this computer at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. That is true. I am hiding some bags under my eyes today. All of those things, are true. But I am here to tell you that if you have the desire and the drive to be your own boss, is a dream come true. Take a chance on yourself. Take a leap of faith to bolster yourself, to support yourself, and to bless others with your talent. I knew I had some talent, and I knew that I was uniquely positioned to share that talent with others, with me calling the shots and not someone else. Client is a telecommunications or a technology company that has a government affairs shop, that they are looking for strategic advice. They are looking for someone who knows the communities, that have, someone who has relationships with commissioners, with those in the private sector, with individuals on the ground. I'm the only commissioner that I know that was on Skid Row. And speaking with people and asking them what they need and trying to have policies in place, to help, to really help those who are most in need. So one of the things is me, trying to advise to ensure that there is a voice at the table. Much like I did as a commissioner, I am seeking to help and close divides with companies who are interested in the same thing.
I tell you what, that what you're doing is, as you said, you're so uniquely positioned to do what you're doing at this point. And I just want to tell you, thank you. I mean, all I could do is sit here. I could say, okay, we're just going to let you go for it, because everything that you said is what we need to hear as women. One of the things that you said was standing on shoulders. We've been standing on our mother's shoulders for such a long time, and they have been watching over us, looking at us, positioning us, preparing us for such a time as this. One other thing that I love that you said was, we need to do it. If you're going to get out there, just do it. And I love that you did that, Mignon, because you talked to me when we were off the air. You talked about how some people were able, especially men, were able to get into a position from your position and go right into it.
Right. No questions asked, no questions about their, qualifications, nothing. And you're absolutely right. Assumptions are made because that is who traditionally they've held the jobs, they held the positions, and I tell people mention to people all the time, or suggest all the time, especially to women, you're looking for a job, you can't find a job, you're not being promoted to the degree in which you're qualified. Create your own job, your own opportunity. You do not need, when as talented as you are, you do not need that type of validation from anyone else. Be your own validator. Create your own opportunities. In the meantime, jobs are the best jobs in order to have that support you need to get on your feet and to move forward. I am hopeful that when I make my transition, that I'm able to advance my own paycheck to pay for the funeral. I don't want anybody else to do it. I don't want, to have to worry about my job's insurance. I want to be uniquely positioned to plot my own course from now until the end. I don't know if that's going to happen. I am not sure, but I am sure that I have enough faith in myself to do everything in my power to do so. And that is important for all of us. Really be your own validator when no one else is there. Accept validation when it comes.
That's right.
Learn how to say thank you, which is problematic for me sometimes. And you know what? Learn how to say yes when somebody offers to help. A lot of times people want to help you, and we are so used to doing things on our own until sometimes, and this is probably my hardest lesson. It is hard for us to say, yes, please pick that up, or yes, please pick up the child. Yes, do that. Say yes.
Yes.
Because sometimes people get their own sense of fulfillment by helping others and helping you. So
That's
say
right.
yes when it's a benefit, and and you say yes when someone else needs it.
That's
It
right.
works in this wonderful harmony. And if we treat others and recognize what we see, what ourselves and others, and when they need, and what we know that, the little thing, and I've got it permanently now. You know the strain when we can see our sister in pain.
Yes.
Her what
Yes.
she needs.
That's
And if
right.
you need something, just say yes, thank you.
I got it.
It's
That's
hard
right.
for us to do, but the next time somebody asking you need, just say yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Ladies, are you hearing this? And for men, if you're listening, listen well.
Right,
Yes,
right.
say thank you. Okay, so Mignon, life lesson. Give us one of your life lessons that you'd like to share with the audience.
One of the things that I had to accept about myself is that I'm ever evolving. I never knew what I wanted to be. When they said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I never could really answer that question because I still have not figured it out as I go into another significant, a birthday celebration in a couple of weeks. Listen, your talents, your abilities are sometimes broader and more applicable than you see them. So if you're not 100% sure about something, if you can't articulate at the time exactly what you want to be when you grow up, explore, learn, grow. You will figure it out, and you will be a blessing to yourself and others. So that is my lesson, to accept my, I guess you would say, faults, and to try to use them to my advantage. Sometimes your little quirkiness, your little quirky, issues, or some people call them faults. Sometimes that could be somebody else's blessing, because you can recognize something and help them. So my thing is to embrace your unique you, to leverage the gifts that you have, to figure it out if you don't quite know it, to explore and grow and be fulfilled.
Oh, wow, wow. You just said a mouthful. Let me tell you something. As I'm sitting here, you talk about that big birthday that's coming up. Okay, we've been celebrating all of these big birthdays.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage everyone, as you're talking and you're saying, it doesn't matter what age you are. Because when you said you're still trying to figure it out, I was clapping. I was clapping because, we all are in that same boat.
Right.
And there are some of us that figure it out, and then there's some of us that are still, hey, using all those gifts and talents that God gave us.
Exactly. I don't want my yesterday, I don't want my tomorrow to look like my yesterday. I love that differential. Some people need steadiness. That's not how I'm wired. So for me to have never figured out, that's okay. Because that means every day is a possibility for me to do something phenomenal, not within the job description, but way coloring outside the lines. So embrace that. People get frustrated with that and allow other people to define what they are or define what they aren't. Do not accept that. You work on you. You recognize your abilities and your talents. Even if you're doing a job right now that you do not appreciate, take that 30 minutes to an hour to grow what you want. Take that time to be who you are, to nurture what you are, what your potential is. I'm telling you, if you do so, even if you fall a few degrees short, you will not leave this world with regrets. That is, if I have a fear, Tammy, it's leaving this world with regrets. So I am going to do as much as in my power. I haven't done that traveling thing, and I know COVID is going to make it, it's going to make it even more difficult. But I am trying to check every single aspirational box possible. I'm not going to do brain surgery. That was an aspiration for a minute. I don't think you want me to do that. But all the rest of it is fair game.
Wow. I love what you said, because one of the things, and I don't know if you remember, in the beginning of the year, the show is about the power of you, taking care of you, optimizing opportunities, and uplifting others. And what you have done today is just confirmed all of that for me. And so I want to thank you, Mignon. I mean, thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, before we go, I always want to ask the 3 words. What are the 3 words that describe Mignon?
This is going to surprise you, and I'm going to the most surprising one I'll say first: imperfect, determined, change agent. And I say it in that order because in order for us to effectuate change, to live and be the change that we see in ourselves and others, we don't have to be perfect. We have to be determined, we have to be focused, and we have to be willing. So imperfect, determined, change agent, all of that together to me describes me. And that is how I conduct myself each and every day.
Oh, thank you so very much. I have enjoyed this to the point that I want you to come back. We're going to talk about when you're going to come back, because you have just shared so many nuggets. And as the kids say now, you've dropped all these gems. You know what I'm saying? And so I really, really want to thank you for being on the show. And, I love you. Tell everybody, a whole family, I said hello.
And they asked me to tell you hello too. I forgot to do that.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, and so for those that want to get in touch with you, we do have your handles, yes, your Twitter and your LinkedIn. They can reach you on Twitter at Mignon Clyburn, and then on LinkedIn, Mignon Clyburn.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Mignon, you're beautiful, my darling. Thank you so much. I love you.
Love you. My pleasure.
Okay. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow. I don't know about you, but for me, that just did so much for me. I mean, it confirmed a lot of things that I've been thinking. 1, 2, she just dropped so many nuggets and so many gems, as you all would say, for us to really put in our minds and start to think about the things that we as women should be doing and want to do, and why not? So you heard it from the Honorable Mignon Clyburn. And so we want to thank her so much for being on the show. All right, we're going to take a commercial and we'll be right back. You're going to meet our next powerful woman.
Our roots are strong, our culture rich, our presence powerful. Our vibrant, colorful swag can be seen in everything we touch. Let's celebrate us and everything we are. The blueprint of food, music, and soul. For an immersive weekend of African American culture, dynamic musical acts, delicious food, cultural vendors, and more. Join us in Charleston for the Root of Soul J19 Fest. Low country roots, African heritage, Black soul.
Welcome back. I was just enjoying the Root of Soul. All right, we're going to meet our next powerful woman. She is coming to us. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. She says that she's never met a blank surface that she did not want to draw on. A lifelong lover of global design traditions, and she's Atlanta-based. She takes cues when you see her. When you see this, you're going to see it because you see the hues of the Caribbean roots, the stark simplicity of the Scandinavian design, and the bold geometrics of the West African weaves to create a vibrant, eye-catching textiles for the home decor and the apparel markets. Well, now, when I tell you this, you're going to meet her. I mean, I saw her and I was like, oh, I've got to have her on my show. I've got to have her on my show. So I want to bring her on out because she is just powerful and she's sitting backstage. I see you. And so we're going to bring her on out. Listen, I want to introduce to you Miss Rochelle Porter of Rochelle Porter Designs. How are you, Rochelle?
Hey, Tammy, I'm doing great. How are you?
Fine. Listen, I was getting caught up. I was getting caught up. I was going to read this whole thing, but I'm going to let you tell us about you. How are you doing, my darling?
I'm doing amazing. I'm in Miami. I'm actually on semi-vacation right now. So
Oh,
we're enjoying it while it lasts.
hey, Rochelle, my
Yeah.
favorite place. Thank you so much.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
Miami. I just told my sister the other night, I said, if I'm going to move, I'm going to move to Miami.
I'm kind of contemplating move myself.
Okay, well, we'll
Yeah.
get together. And I've got someone for you to meet in Miami, too.
Okay.
All right, all right.
All
Listen,
right.
Rochelle, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm so honored that you said yes and that you're here. You are a powerful woman. I want you to just go for it. Talk about your journey because you are a designer. Your clothes are
Mhm.
in your designs are in West Elm. Anybody that knows West Elm knows West Elm. And and as an African American woman, talk about this journey of being the designer that has come into this being.
Oh man. Okay. How much time do we have?
Well, you got a little bit
I'm,
of time. Come
I'm gonna
on,
try
come
to
on.
give you all the Cliff Notes version because it's a very long journey, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
try to sum it up. So, I'm Rochelle. Like Tammy said, I'm the founder and creative director of Rochelle Porter Design, and we are a vibrant, print-focused lifestyle brand based in Atlanta. And our product lines really include anything from ethically produced home decor to activewear to accessories, and they all feature my original hand designed prints. Um, I really just started out by doodling on everything and eventually discovered that people actually did this for a living. This was a job in an entire industry and started from there. So like you said in the intro, I come from a Caribbean family. I have Caribbean roots. So, when my parents brought me here at 5 years old, my family's from Guyana. The blueprint is that you become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or something on that level. Um, didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to do any of those careers. So I was kind of stuck, but I still tried to follow the blueprint. I got into college, went to a good school, and of course, much to my family's chagrin, I majored in English and history. So I was a double major, so not just one, but two useless degrees. But when I graduated, I still felt that pressure to, perform and please everybody. So I actually got a job right out of college as a computer programmer, which that's a whole other story in itself. But I got that job and I was miserable. I worked at a very, prestigious firm for about a year and a half. And while I was, on the outside, I looked like I had arrived, quote unquote. I was really miserable on the inside. But, I had this apartment in Brooklyn. I had the whole wardrobe full of suits. So I knew I couldn't quit because I still had rent to pay. But I also knew I was creative-ish. I would never have called myself an artist or a designer at the time, but I knew I liked to make things. So on a whim, I took a class at FIT. It was only like a 3-day continuing ed class. And I believe it was an intro to fashion design class. So I went to the first class. Everything was great. I enjoyed it. I went to the second class, and the instructor told us that if we wanted to get our fashions produced, we would have to send them overseas to China. So at the time, immediately what I thought, as soon as she said we had to send them to China, was okay, so that means child labor, human rights violations, people being exploited, pollution, just all these terrible things that I did not want to be involved in. So I didn't even bother to go back to the third class. And that was kind of it for me. Fast forward maybe 12 years, I moved back to Atlanta with my family. And again, I'm in another corporate job that I'm not happy in, but it pays the bills. And I decided to take this art class, but it's not a typical art class. It's not an art instruction class where they teach you to draw or paint. It was more about your heart as an artist and the purpose of creativity and all these very, woo-woo ethereal concepts. But it was actually life-changing for me because I met a woman in the class and, I didn't know her, had never met her before. And we were doing a group project and she kind of looks at me one day and she says, she's like, there's something you put down a long time ago because you felt that you couldn't do it. But I feel like God wants you to pick it back up. And, now it sounds like a great revelation. At the time, she just sounded kind of crazy because within those 12 years, I had picked up so many things and had so many random hobbies. She could have literally been talking about anything. But it kept happening over and over again to the point where I had to pay attention. Like one day I was getting on a flight and the Delta agent looked at my passport and she was like, your name sounds like a clothing line. I was like, okay, that's an odd thing to say. And it just kept happening over and over again over the course of the next maybe year and a half, to the point where I was like, okay, God, I'm listening. What are you trying to tell me? And as I started paying more attention, things just became more and more clear to me. Like, I think I went to Target or Nordstrom one day, one of those stores that I had been to a million times. And for the first time, I started noticing that all the products, whether it was clothing or a coffee mug or anything in the store, bedding, they had these prints on them. And the prints looked a lot like what I doodle when I'm bored. And so I just started to wondering, how do people do that? How do people get artwork on product? So I started doing my research, found out there were some trade shows regarding that industry, and I just went from there. And from there, I decided to launch just one product to see how it would work.
So, sometimes the things that we don't like to do will push us to do what we need to do. So I'm gonna tell you something right quick. You're not the only one that's been doing this, that, and this, and saying,
Okay.
okay. So it takes us, as Mignon talked about earlier, it takes you a while to figure out, hey, what is this going to be? So one of the
Right.
things that I want to ask you about is now you talked about some challenges, but what is one of the greatest lessons that you learned out of everything?
Can I just pick one?
One.
I'm trying to think of just one.
Well,
I
or
would
you can pick
say-
a couple.
So a lesson that I'm continually learning is to trust myself. Often as entrepreneurs, especially as women entrepreneurs, and especially someone like me who has no formal training or background in what I'm doing now, I was always looking to other people, other resources, what other companies have done historically to be successful. But I really had to realize that my path is unique. There is no blueprint from what I'm doing. I am the blueprint. I'm creating the blueprint as we speak. And that I really need to trust myself because I have more of the answers than I think I do. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning, but I know a lot more than I think I do. And I think that applies to everybody across the board.
Right. So, as you are talking about this is not the industry that you started out in. So let's go back. What are some of those challenges that you faced to get to where you are now?
Okay, the first challenge is I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know anything at the time about, garment production, printmaking, anything like that. And that's actually why I came out first with home decor, not because I have a deep affinity toward throw pillows. I mean, I love all things design related, but, throw pillows are not like my number one, but it was a square. It did not take any kind of technical knowledge. It didn't take any pattern making experience. I didn't have to, work with a huge manufacturer. It was literally a square that I could have my prints printed on. And that's where I started.
So Rochelle, we want to show some of your work so that people know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Because the fabrics are beautiful. This is fabulous. What collection is this?
Sure. So this is it started out as a holiday collection, but it can really go all year round. And this is our collection that debuted at West Elm last October.
And see, I didn't even get to that question. So I want to,
Okay.
and I have that question, West Elm. Let's go to the young ladies in the blue, the mother and daughter, I think, that are in the blue. I love this.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. So this is from our Mama Love collection, which is a mommy and me activewear collection. Mm-hmm. So, with the pandemic raging, moms are home with their kids more. Mm-hmm. And, we hear a lot of focus on homeschooling and working, but not a whole lot of emphasis on the play aspect.
Mhm.
So that's specifically why we launched the kids line. We already had the adult activewear for about a year and a half,
Okay.
but it was just really important to have something that moms and kids could do together.
Right, and I see you brought another mom and kid with us as
Mm-hmm.
well. This is beautiful. I
Yes.
love pink is my favorite color. I love that. The geometric and as I'm thinking about it, there's one picture, and we won't show that picture. It's called stroking lifestyles because you just stroke. Is that what you do?
Yes. You know what? That's one of the things I do. So this work, before it was work for me,
Mhm.
it was meditation. It was literally, from the time I was a kid, and you kind of draw on the corner of your notebook in school all the way to adulthood. When I'm at these corporate jobs and we're in 3 and 4 hour meetings, and often my boss would think I was taking these copious notes in legal pads, but really I was just doodling, and it just got more and more elaborate as the years went by. But it's really something to marry my left brain and my right brain. That's when I process the best. That's when I'm the most creative. And that's how it turns out. It
Oh
might start
wow.
out as a stroke or something a little more complicated, but
And then I love the fact that you have the plus line. So I want the ladies out there that are plus
yes,
women to know she has the
absolutely.
plus line. She's thinking about us.
Everybody deserves to look and feel good in what they're wearing, regardless of where they are in their
That's right.
journey.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so Rochelle, I want you to kind of just tell us how did West Elm come about?
Sure. So West Elm, well, first of all, West Elm and I have had a long-standing relationship. So when I first launched the line of pillows that was just a square, like I talked about, that was about 2016. And I kind of had heard it through the grapevine that local West Elm stores worked with independent designers, which, my mind was blown at that, because it's not like mom and pop's furniture store. This is West Elm. And the fact that they would let designers come in their stores and set up pop-up shops was amazing to me. So called up my local West Elm store. I ended up having a meeting with them. They liked the aesthetic and they said I could have a pop-up. So I went on to do more and more of those. I did one at probably every West Elm store in Atlanta. I did one in New York back in, I think, 2016 or 2017. And I had just been doing that for years. And last year, 2020 was a rough year for all of us in several ways, especially, the African American community. So when the Black Lives Matter movement kind of came to the fore, a lot of these huge brands were being challenged to really, pay attention to Black makers and not just kind of roll us out during Black History Month for a special thing, but make us part of the everyday conversation, which is what we should have been all along, but that's a whole other conversation. Um, but there's a designer that goes by the name of Aurora James. And in addition to being an amazing fashion designer, she's also a really strong advocate. And she started something called the 15% Pledge. So she challenged these major brands that if Black people are roughly 15% of the population, we need to be 15% of the brands that you stock on your shelves. And West Elm was one of the first companies to take that challenge. So being that I already had a relationship with them, it was just kind of a no-brainer that I would partner with them.
And you see, this is what we're talking about. You stepped out on faith, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really encouraged by what you said, what you're saying, and what Mignon is saying. We've got to just step out there and just do it. I mean,
Absolutely.
you've changed careers. I've changed careers numerous times, believe me.
Yeah.
And you just got to get out there and do what you love to do. Put that creativity to work. Make it work for you.
Right.
So what's one advice that you would give women at this point who may be looking to go into their own business?
Do it. Now's the time, especially for Black women. I would never go as far as to say that the playing field is level, but people are starting to pay attention now for the first time. And like this is our time. Just step out and do it. If there's something you have been thinking about, waiting on, if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that nothing is guaranteed, nothing is promised. So we need to do that thing, or at least attempt to.
Wow, do it. Just do it. And so what's next for Rochelle? What's next? Oh, besides now you're in Miami, so I know y'all, and for what's next?
So the very next thing we have coming out, which we've had a lot of requests for and we've been trying to do for years, is a wallpaper collection. So it's going to feature a lot of the black and white prints that are in our current West Elm collection, as well as a few others. And there might even be some color in there.
Wow, congratulations. I can't wait to see it. My godmother's in Atlanta, and when I told her, of course, I told you this when she said about, did you have Rochelle Porter? West Elm, Rochelle? I said, yes, the designer Rochelle Porter. So I'm going to tell her, look out for the wallpaper, and everybody else, look out for the wallpaper. Now, I have your website where people can get in touch with you. And so they can go to RochellePorter.com, see all of your work, all of your designs. I am just so honored. And thank you so much for taking time out of your vacation. Your vacation. I tell you, thank everybody.
So.
Thank you, everybody. Now, let me. I have to ask you, what are the 3 words that describe Rochelle?
Ooh, okay. I would say evolving, free, and game changing.
Game changing. Game. That's
what we're here for.
Wow,
like, why do it if you're not going to change the game?
That's right. That's right. Rochelle, I'm not going to hold you, but I tell you what, I'm just so grateful that you're on the show today, and so honored to have you. And I'm telling you, many blessings to you, because I see you. I love the colors that you have on now. Is that your design?
It is.
Wow, fabulous. So I will be wearing some of your designs now, since I know you have that line.
Can't wait to see it.
Yes, I'll send you a picture. I will send you a picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all are saying, producers in the back, she's saying, I'm producer A. She said, I've got it. Tiana going to wear it too. We're going to get your designs. So we want to thank you so much for being on the show. Listen, have a wonderful time in Miami, and may God continue to bless you.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be on your show.
Oh, thank you, Rochelle. Thank you. All right. Take care of yourself, Rochelle. All right. Bye-bye. Wow. When I tell you these are powerful women, they are powerful women. Do you understand the power of the woman? What I'm talking about is creating. Creating what it is that you love to do. Being who you are. Remember, in the beginning, I talked about taking care of you, optimizing every opportunity, and making sure that you uplift others. That's what you is all about. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank you, viewers, for being on the show. Listen, we've had a great show. The Honorable Mignon Clyburn being on the show. The illustrious and lovely Rochelle Porter, the designer, founder, and CEO. We can't ask for anything else. I'm telling you, next week, you're going to meet 2 more powerful women. You're going to meet Mary Weinberg. Mary Weinberg is the gold medalist, okay? And she's going to join us and talk about being a gold medalist, but also she's a speaker, educator. She's doing a lot of great things. And then, of course, Mrs. Carla Moody, retired nurse, business owner, CD Moody Construction Company out of Atlanta, a wife, mother, the whole 9. And so I just want to say, be encouraged. Continue to be encouraged. Thank you for watching the show. I want to thank producer A, and I want to thank assistant producer Tiana for doing a great job today. Listen, you all are just fabulous, and I want to thank you as always for helping me do what I do. And again, thank you, viewers, for always tuning in to Tammy. Remember, you can subscribe to the Tammy TV Show. That's the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, please. Let's be a blessing to someone today and every day. I want you to have a safe and wonderful week. Remember, wear your mask, social distance, and wash your hands. Even though we have the vaccine, remember, COVID is still out there. And I want you to always remember to help somebody, okay? So will you do that? And the next time, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining the show. Take care. Bye-bye.